In 1404, Italian professor Galeazzo di Santa Sofia conducted the first recorded public human dissection north of the Alps at the Heiligen Geistspital in Vienna. This event marked a significant milestone in medical education, introducing anatomy as a formal subject of study in the region. Galeazzo had previously taught medicine at the universities of Bologna and Padua before being invited to Vienna. In 1502, Queen Isabella I of Castile issued an edict that mandated the conversion to Christianity or expulsion of all Muslims within her realms. This decree extended the policies of forced conversion that began after the fall of Granada in 1492. Muslims who converted were known as Moriscos, but many continued to practice Islam in secret. Over time, these policies led to significant social and cultural upheaval, culminating in the eventual expulsion of the Moriscos in the early 17th century. On February 12, 1541, Spanish conquistador Pedro de Valdivia founded the city of Santiago, which would become the capital of Chile. Valdivia chose the location in the fertile Mapocho Valley, recognizing its strategic and agricultural potential. Despite facing resistance from indigenous populations and challenges in establishing the settlement, Santiago grew to become a central hub in colonial Chile. In 1593, during the Japanese invasions of Korea, 1592 to 1598, approximately 3,000 Korean defenders led by General Kwon Yul successfully repelled over 30,000 Japanese troops at the Siege of Haengju. Utilizing the strategic advantage of Haengju Fortress's high ground and employing innovative tactics, the Korean forces inflicted significant casualties on the Japanese, marking a turning point in the conflict and boosting Korean morale. On February 12, 1689, following the Glorious Revolution, the English Convention Parliament declared that King James II's flight to France in 1688 constituted an abdication of the throne. This decision led to the joint monarchy of his daughter Mary II and her husband William III, establishing a constitutional framework that limited the powers of the monarchy and affirmed parliamentary sovereignty. On February 12, 1733, Englishman James Oglethorpe founded the colony of Georgia by settling at Savannah. Established as the 13th of the 13 colonies, Georgia was initially conceived as a refuge for debtors and the poor, as well as a buffer state against Spanish Florida. Oglethorpe's vision included prohibitions on slavery and alcohol, though these bans were eventually lifted as the colony developed. On February 12, 1817, a combined Argentine and Chilean patriotic army, led by General José de San Martín, defeated Spanish royalist forces at the Battle of Chacabuco. This victory was pivotal in the Chilean War of Independence, leading to the liberation of Santiago and significantly weakening Spanish control over the region. On February 12, 1894, French anarchist Émile Henry threw a bomb into the Café Terminus in Paris, resulting in the death of one person and injuries to 20 others. Henry's act was part of a broader wave of anarchist violence in Europe during this period, reflecting the intense social and political tensions of the time. On February 12, 1909, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP, was founded in the United States. Established in response to ongoing violence against African Americans, the NAACP became a leading civil rights organization, advocating for political, educational, social, and economic equality through legal challenges, advocacy, and public education. On February 12, 1909, the SS Penguin, an inter-island ferry in New Zealand, sank and exploded at the entrance to Wellington Harbor during a storm. This disaster resulted in the loss of 75 lives, making it the country's worst maritime disaster of the 20th century. The tragedy led to changes in maritime safety regulations in New Zealand. On February 12, 1935, the USS Macon, one of the largest helium-filled rigid airships ever built, encountered a severe storm off the coast of Point Sur, California. A structural failure led to the loss of the upper fin, causing the airship to descend into the Pacific Ocean. Of the 76 crew members aboard, 74 survived the crash. The wreckage now rests approximately 1,500 feet below the ocean's surface within the Monterey Bay National Marine Sanctuary. On February 12, 1946, Sergeant Isaac Woodard, an African-American World War II veteran, was honorably discharged and traveling home by bus. Following a dispute with the bus driver over a restroom break, the driver summoned police in Batesburg, South Carolina. Police Chief Linwood Shull forcibly removed Woodard from the bus and brutally beat him, resulting in permanent blindness. This incident garnered national attention, influencing President Harry S. Truman's decision to establish the President's Committee on Civil Rights and leading to Executive Order 9981, which desegregated the U.S. Armed Forces. On February 12, 1947, a massive iron meteorite entered Earth's atmosphere and exploded over the Seacoat Allen Mountains in the Soviet Union. The event created numerous impact craters and scattered an estimated 70 tons of meteorite fragments over the area. At the time, it was the largest observed meteorite fall, providing valuable scientific insights into meteoritics. On February 12, 1947, French fashion designer Christian Dior introduced his inaugural collection, dubbed the New Look, in Paris. Characterized by cinched waists, full skirts, and an emphasis on feminine silhouettes, this revolutionary design departed from the austere styles of the wartime era. Dior's New Look revitalized the French fashion industry and re-established Paris as the epicenter of haute couture. On February 12, 1961, the Soviet Union launched Venera 1, the first spacecraft aimed at another planet, specifically Venus. Although contact was lost before it reached its destination, Venera 1 marked a significant milestone in interplanetary exploration and paved the way for future missions to Venus. On February 12, 1965, civil rights leader Malcolm X visited Smethwick, a town near Birmingham, England, following a racially charged election campaign. He toured areas noted for proposed segregationist policies and spoke out against racial discrimination, highlighting global civil rights issues shortly before his assassination. On February 12, 1968, during the Vietnam War, South Korean Marines allegedly killed numerous unarmed Vietnamese civilians in the villages of Phong Nhi and Phong Nhot. The incident remains a contentious and tragic example of civilian casualties during the conflict. On February 12, 1974, Nobel Prize-winning Russian author Alexander Solzhenitsyn was forcibly exiled from the Soviet Union due to his writings, which were critical of the government, particularly his work, The Gulag Archipelago. He was stripped of his citizenship and deported, eventually settling in the United States before returning to Russia in 1994. On February 12, 1988, during the Cold War, the U.S. missile cruiser USS Yorktown and the destroyer USS Karen entered Soviet territorial waters in the Black Sea as part of a freedom of navigation exercise. In response, the Soviet frigate Bezavetny intentionally collided with the Yorktown to push it out of the area, leading to heightened tensions between the two superpowers. On February 12, 1990, Carmen Lawrence was sworn in as the Premier of Western Australia, becoming the first female Premier in Australian history. Her leadership marked a significant milestone in Australian politics and gender equality. On February 12, 1994, Edvard Munch's iconic painting, The Scream, was stolen from the National Gallery in Oslo, Norway, by thieves who broke into the museum during the Winter Olympics in Lillehammer. The painting was recovered later that year, and security measures in museums worldwide were subsequently reassessed. On February 12, 1999, the United States Senate acquitted President Bill Clinton on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice, concluding his impeachment trial. The trial stemmed from allegations related to his extramarital affair with White House intern Monica Lewinsky. On February 12, 2001, NASA's NEAR Shoemaker spacecraft successfully landed on the asteroid 433 Eros, marking the first time a spacecraft had landed on an asteroid. The mission provided valuable data on the composition and characteristics of asteroids. On February 12, 2002, the trial of former Yugoslav President Slobodan Milosevic commenced at the International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, ICTY, in The Hague, Netherlands. Milosevic faced charges including genocide, crimes against humanity, and war crimes related to conflicts in Bosnia, Croatia, and Kosovo. Opting to represent himself, the trial was prolonged due to his health issues and procedural delays. After 4 years, Milosevic died of a heart attack on March 11, 2006, before a verdict was reached. On February 12, 2016, Pope Francis and Patriarch Kirill of Moscow met at José Martí International Airport in Havana, Cuba. This was the first meeting between the leaders of the Roman Catholic and Russian Orthodox churches since the Great Schism of 1054. They signed a 30-point joint declaration addressing issues such as the persecution of Christians in the Middle East, the importance of family values, and their hope for re-establishing Christian unity. On February 12, 2019, the country, formerly known as the Republic of Macedonia, officially changed its name to the Republic of North Macedonia. This change was part of the Prespa Agreement with Greece, resolving a long-standing dispute over the use of the name Macedonia. The agreement opened the path for North Macedonia's accession to international organizations like NATO and the European Union, which Greece had previously blocked due to the naming issue.